Welcome to the Mixed Experience. Today we have a special guest on, Hannah, and we also have our regular guest on, Trick. So,
Yeah, that's not my co-host.
co-host, I'm sorry. Yeah, my bad. But welcome, Hannah.
Hello, hello.
And how do you pronounce your last name?
So, you pronounce it Shariza.
Teresa. Okay.
Teresa.
So I think Hannah wants to start off today talking about the aspects of being a single mom and, you know, what how it's so tough, trying to balance everything and juggle everything. So,
Well, and also to add a little depth to this conversation, culture's changed so much now that, motherhood is almost depleted in a lot of ways because of, the whole women movement. And not to degrade those women, they've done great things. But if you decide to be a mother, I think it definitely needs to be acknowledged.
Absolutely.
so Hannah, would you like to elaborate on that?
Sure. So, for those that don't know, I am also a daycare teacher. I teach infants. So I have quite the, intake and outlook on just motherhood in general. I'm a mom of four myself. And I just feel like now there's so much required of us when it comes to trying to be a working mom or a stay at home mom. And I feel like we don't get enough acknowledgement of that, either from the world, society, if you have a significant other or the father of your children. And I just feel like all around it's just kind of, not applauded enough. I feel like we do a lot. There's a lot that goes into it between maintaining a home, maintaining the kids, supper, school, doctor's appointments. There's just so many parts of being a mom. And I feel like it really gets downplayed. And then if you're trying to go back into the work field, I feel like they really don't give you the opportunity to still enjoy the parts of seeing your child grow up. Because it's kind of like you have to make the decision of either you're a full employee and that means you lose a lot of time with your child, which I see a lot, parents that just, especially for moms, there's a lot that they, lose out on. A lot of things they don't get to see, for instance, maybe first steps. As a teacher, we may see that, or just the growth of their child. So there's a lot that I feel like as women, um, there just should be a lot more acknowledgement.
Yes.
And things set in place. But of course, it's hard with everything going on with the world and all of that. But yeah.
So, and two, would you say that even though as a single mom you're having to share your time between work and being a mother, um, would you agree that uh, sometimes it's not the quantity of time but the quality?
Mm,
Like they're super absorbent and observant.
absolutely.
So, and women, are tough in general. To have a baby, that's tough enough. So,
Absolutely.
so, and you know, and women, they're tough and nurturing at the same time. So, they, I think a kid when they don't have their mom is, you know, they're lacking. They'll always lack something in life where they just don't have that nurturing side to them.
Hmm.
So,
And one thing I'd like to point out is, from my own perspective and personal experiences here, um, so a home was always where a mother or father was, not
Hmm.
necessarily the house. So, like, I remember countless holidays and Mother's Day, like, going to visit my mom. Like, the closer I got, the more I felt her presence.
Mm.
Yeah. So that was a good feeling.
and I think too, when when a mother raises a child, a single mom. and the children grow up, see how hard she's worked. I think that instills a lot into them to, you know, want to work hard also and be like that person, like their parents. So being a single mom, I mean, I'm not a single mom, so but I could imagine that it's got to be one of the toughest things in the world to try to juggle that. Come home, cook, but make sure kids are doing right in school and working and trying to pay the bills and everything.
He still set good
Yeah,
examples.
and
Mm-hmm.
you know, but on the other hand too, a lot of single moms they get judged in ways that they shouldn't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
you know, it's, and not every single mom out there is there's usually single moms for reasons because you
Mm-hmm.
know the person they were with was not a good person, or you know or whatever. But you know, uh, I just couldn't imagine raising three or four kids by myself. That
By
would
myself, yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people do tend to judge, especially if they see the person has multiple children, they automatically, their mind goes in places, and it's like, you don't know that person's situation. You don't know why they are being a single parent. I think what should matter is not the fact of that, but what they are doing, how involved they are for their children, and the things that they're trying to provide and the goals they're trying to, meet. And I feel like that should be more the focus. But unfortunately, it's a cruel world. And the first thing that we do is kind of look at the negative instead of, well, what about the positive? There's a lot of positive. And there are a lot of single moms out here that are doing it better than some moms that have a significant other a lot of times. So,
that's so true. Yeah,
uh,
I see a lot of moms that are neglectful that are married and
oh,
just
yeah.
that are just don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
But is there any advice you could give to single moms that
Um,
you know?
I think for me, and so a lot of people be like, "Oh, well, you're not a single mom." At one point, I was a single mom.
Yeah,
There was a point in time when I was really young. I did have my child, at the age of 19. So I was a single mom for quite a few years. Um, and for me, what I would say is, that child is a blessing, or children, plural, are blessings. And for me, my son, he helped mature me in ways and made me realize a lot of things that I didn't think were possible became possible for me to do. Being able to go back to school, it still was a possibility. Working a job and just making sure that I provided him all the love, the care, just everything that he needed. So I feel like don't give up on yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Don't feel like, you're not enough. I feel like that's something that as women, we should wake up every single day, regardless of who you are, and look in the mirror and tell yourself, you are enough.
yeah.
And you're needed by your child or children. So you keep pushing and know that there's no such thing as it's never too late, or you're never going to find someone else, or whatever the situation or circumstances may be. Don't ever think that, because yeah, anything is possible. Honestly, that's how I feel. The sky is the limit.
Now, would you say that through your early years, you said you were 19, do you
Hmm.
think it taught you responsibility?
It most definitely did. Like before having, a child, it was all about me, me, me. There was really nothing that I was responsible for. I didn't have any bills. But, once he came into my life and I became a mom, of course, I had no knowledge of what I was doing. I was a young child just out of high school. As they say that term, a child raising a child. But it's almost like the best way that I can describe it. Once, I saw him and laid eyes on him, I knew all right, this is now a person that I'm responsible for. So every little thing that I do is going to matter from here on out because it's going to either make or break his future. You know, it's no longer about me anymore. It's now about him and what can I provide him? What can I show him? So it definitely taught me a lot of responsibility because now I had to get up, I had to change diapers, or I had to make sure there was a roof over his head. I had to make sure he had food, you know, so it most definitely helped me. I feel like it helped me mature and become responsible a lot faster than I probably would have had I not had him.
Yeah, yeah, and I had a child at an early age too, and unfortunately, the marriage didn't work out. You know,
Okay.
like in a lot of cases when you're young,
Mm-hmm.
and but you know, I feel the same way. It taught me a lot of responsibility. Just taking on the effort of being a father and everything else like that. It it changes your world when you have a child. I mean, if you never had a kid, you don't know. But
Mm-hmm.
once that child's here, it's like things are different. I mean, it's just different. I mean,
Hmm.
you go through a thing where you see the world differently.
Yeah.
You know, as they grow up, also, you know, you can see more and more why your parents were yelling at you when you were a kid.
Yeah.
If I may, if I may interject, I actually had an epiphany this past week for the podcast that I
Okay.
was hoping to add some, as you know, be an asset to this conversation. Something that was came to me um, is I noticed I'm friends with someone who um, is a single grandmother,
Okay.
and she shared with me that being a grandmother has motivated her, like breathed life back into her,
Hmm.
a point where she felt like, you know, she was lonesome, she was tired all the time, just unmotivated and worthless. And now that the child is of age, maybe 4 or 5 years old, that energy from that child is breathing life into her, that she gets that last bit of life at the end of her life. So, you know, think of it as this: as we age, you know, we wonder why our energy goes down as the youth has more energy, and it's
Mm-hmm.
due because we feed off energy. So they're
Absolutely.
there to push you and to help motivate you as we age.
Mm-hmm. Most
I think,
definitely.
I think as we get older too, we tend to forget, you know, to have fun in life. You know, take time for ourselves and do things we like sometimes too. It
Absolutely.
doesn't mean you have to exclude your children or anything, but it,
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, we get wrapped up in the world so much with work and everything and all the stress and everything. And I think it's really good to have some kind of outlet in life, a hobby or just going to the park, walking or something like that. Just
Mm-hmm.
get you out of that routine. Because a lot of times when we get stressed out and we can feel the pressure of bills and stuff we got to pay and the the weight of just the world itself. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we tend to forget to take a breath and stand back and go. You know, and things are going to be okay. We just need and just take, like I said, sometimes just taking a walk is a huge deal.
Yeah, you definitely want to take time for yourself. I know
Absolutely.
that that's hard to come by, but those times, you know, where you need to step away, even if
Mm-hmm.
it's just 10 minutes, you know, just to kind of take a breath and take a moment. And, you know, if you have faith, you know, have that 10-minute conversation with God and, you
Absolutely.
know, kind of just reflect on everything that you've gone through so far and, you know,
Mm-hmm.
have a game plan where you're going forward.
Absolutely. I had a moment like that actually recently. Um, I was actually working. It was after my shift. And funny enough, I was, doing a shift at a hospital. And when it was over, I had passed by a chapel. A lot of people, they don't really use the chapel. It's just, it's something that's there. And it was kind of like I was just drawn to it. I don't know what it was, but I had to just take a moment and go in there and really just kind of what I call Selah, and just a moment of silence, and really, just think of everything in life that, has come my way, and how I'm still here, I'm still standing. So I think it is very important, for anybody, male or female, to definitely take time for yourself and take a moment, because if you don't, at times you're going to feel like the weight of the world is like on your shoulders, and it's going to become so heavy, and you're going to find yourself having a moment where you break down. So I think it's good for definitely to have moments of, like you said, taking a walk or whatever that is that you find for your you time, to definitely do it. It's a must, as parents, as just in general. It's like you can't keep the same way our body needs to rest at night. We need moments to step away, and just for ourselves.
Yeah, I think your soul needs a break.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Just the way the world is, sometimes your soul just gets tired, and
This might
Yeah.
be a bizarre analogy, but it's kind of like comparing us to like cell phones. I mean, think of
Mm-hmm.
all the cell phones use so many apps and so many different usages. I mean, not just calculators or social media. It's everything. And over time, it has to be on charge. It needs to charge. The battery dies. So same as a human. Um, and one thing I just want to hint on, not that I'm going down a rabbit hole or anything, but your overall health and how well you take care of yourself as far as nutrition goes and rest.
Yeah,
That's that's very difficult to accomplish,
it is.
especially during this inflation period.
yeah. And two, you mentioned Selah. Okay, could you explain that? What does that mean?
So Selah to me is like it's a moment of silence. It is a word that is used in the Bible.
Okay.
Um, and it literally is just like silence, and it gives you a moment to hear from God. And I feel like it's like very, very important. For some people, it's their version of meditation, or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but for me, it's my thing that I constantly remind myself, like, you've got to take time. So for me, sometimes it's that car ride in the morning to work,
Yeah.
and it's playing music and just taking a moment to talk to God, and let him know, like, thank you for all that you've done, and all that you're gonna do, and for those that, all right, it's not a faith thing for you, just taking moments, to of just silence and just being thankful. I think as a society we've really lost insight of like thankfulness. um yeah.
Yeah, I believe that too. And just in a society in a whole, it's like people are rude. you
Yeah,
know,
they're very rude.
you
They
can't.
are.
It's hard to find anyone that's nice anymore. Out in public, it's just just seems like everybody is
In a bad mood.
in that mood. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it could be just the times we're living in. I don't know, but you know, that's
I mean, we're all, if anyone really looks at the core, I'd say 99% of people, everyone's having financial woes.
Absolutely.
And, a lot of people would never admit this, but, financials are unfortunately essentials for our livelihood. But when it comes to children, that becomes amplified times 100.
Yeah.
So what I've experienced in my line of work is some of the most stressful individuals are those that are low in funds and hungry. And I have an opportunity to feed them and witness to them and kind of give them that upbeat spirit and remind them that they still have their health and there's better days ahead.
Absolutely.
and two, just like they say, a smile costs nothing.
Sure does.
Sometimes just the smiles, could brighten somebody's day and, just turn their day around. And there's a lot to that.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to make this about me, but I just want to say God has put me in position to have an outreach in the community outlet. And, whether the person's on drugs or the individual's a single parent, regardless of the situation, I'm able to give them that last hope and, like you said, a smile.
Yeah.
I've known people that drive 20 miles out of their way just to see me smile at them and say hello.
Yeah. It really does go a long way.
I say that because, you being the glue that holds everything together in the household, whether you realize it or not,
Yeah.
one day will, and they definitely appreciate you as they mature. And
Yeah.
so what we're trying to do is, bring this motherhood nurturing, back into our culture where, it can actually be trending.
Yes.
Just for an example, on our end, our mom passed away, several years ago. But
Week after Mother's Day.
this is how much a mother means to the family. She was the main event, right? We
Yeah.
all would go there, and we would all hang out there together and play music and sing and hang out and eat. She was always cooking, and when she left this earth, we don't have that anymore.
We haven't seen a lot of our family in a long time. Like all of
Mhm.
us in place is devastating at times.
Yeah.
So when you think on a bad day, when you don't think you're doing it right, you're doing it right regardless. Just being there. So
Absolutely. Being there, I think that's what's important. You're physically there, not like you're just your presence is there, but you're physically all the way there. It definitely matters for kids, for the family, most definitely.
yes.
So I wanted to kind of go. I got two questions for you. So the first question is, if you comfortable, you're welcome to talk a little bit about your family and the
Okay.
hope, of course. And secondly, we want to hear about the mother's competition.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Um, so my family, I'm a mom of four. I have two boys, two girls. My oldest is 16, and then I have a 10-year-old, and then an 8-year-old, and a 4-year-old. So I am a full
Getting
time.
them on camera, say hello.
Oh, let me try to call them. Eliezer, Zaria, Zamira, come and say hello, guys. I'm here. Where's Azaria? Azaria? Um, so my son Eliezer, he actually, it's been about 4 years, but he was
Hey,
diagnosed.
how are you?
All right, buddy.
Good.
Oh, you have great parents, by the way. I hope you treat them right. You do good at school.
Excuse me?
You doing good at school?
Are you doing good in school?
Yes.
Yeah. What's
This
your
is,
favorite? Do you watch sports?
I don't watch sports.
Oh, okay. What do you like to do?
I like to play.
Oh, okay.
Let's go. Who's this little one?
So this is Zamira.
Wow, gorgeous.
She's my
Gorgeous.
youngest. And then this is Azaria. She's my 8-year-old.
Hey guys, we was talking to your mom when she was making that shepherd's pie the other night. I'm so jealous. I didn't get it.
This pepper pie was good.
Where's the
Nice.
remote? Where's the remote? Okay, go. Let me see it, please. Thank you.
You guys have a special mom. Very special.
Yes, you do. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
you're welcome.
We'll see you guys again.
Okay.
Alrighty, go ahead. Go ahead. Shut the door. Thank you guys.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, so funny enough, well not funny enough, but so my son Eliezer, he was diagnosed about 4 years ago with something called HLH. It is a rare autoimmune disorder. It literally came out of nowhere. We were on vacation and it came out of nowhere.
Wow.
Yeah, and then my daughter Azaria, the oldest one, she is autistic. So when I say my hands are full as a mom, my hands are very full.
Yeah.
And there's a lot that's required from me. And I'm constantly, juggling between work, between family, between taking care of the individualized needs of each child. And then my 16-year-old, he's growing up to be an adult. So we're starting the whole phase of getting our first job and just he does swimming. He's actually really, really good. He's on the year-round swim team. He's really school swim team. He's really good. So there's a lot that I do and I juggle. And a lot of my friends, family will tell me, Hannah, you do a lot. You do too much. You got to slow down sometimes. But for me, it's the part that brings me joy as a mom. There are moments that I don't want to miss
It's
with
like,
my kids. I don't want to miss these moments. Um,
those efforts will be appreciated much
Absolutely.
later.
Absolutely. Um, and so that's a little bit about like my family, with my kids and just a little generalized background, just a little bit.
Any
And
gray hair showing? That you
then,
got?
sorry, I didn't catch that.
Any gray hair showing yet?
Oh my goodness, I've seen a few.
Welcome to the club.
I've seen a few. I'm like, no, I'm not ready for that. No.
It happens to the best of us.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so that's and then the competition that I'm in is actually called Super Mom. So I happened to be scrolling on like Instagram, I think it was, and it popped up and it was just giving like, are you a super mom? And from kind of the background, so they run through an organization that kind of just helps children, with just different things that are going on with them, either illnesses or whatever may be going on. So I felt it really touched me, especially dealing with the situation with my son a few years ago. And, basically you get votes. Right now, actually around 10 o'clock tonight Eastern time, they'll be doing the top 10. So I'm still in first place.
We got
um, Thank you to everyone that has voted. I truly appreciate
For you right now.
it. Thank you. And so it just asked me a few questions. I gave a little description of like, what it to me makes me the proudest, something that I remember in regards to my children. And what I would do, because the prize money is 20,000,
wow.
and then you also get a trip to Napa Valley, like a weekend getaway, and then you get to be featured in a magazine. So to me, with everything that I deal with as a mom, I definitely want to, tell my story, because I just feel like there's lots of us out there that are going through things, and let people know like it's gonna be okay. You're gonna get through. Because
Yeah.
when I was going through these moments, of just finding out my daughter is autistic, I was pregnant with my youngest, my 4-year-old. That was a lot to take in.
I bet.
It's not something that she wanted to hear, not, but I take it and I'm here and I'm dealing with it. And there's still challenges. I don't know everything, but I'm an eager learner. And the same thing, when my son was dealing with his HLH, there was just, it took them 2 weeks to finally be able to even diagnose him. And that was a scary moment,
Yeah.
in life. So it's like, everybody has this story, but I have my story that I want to share. I feel like, it's important to let people know. And faith really, I mean, God really just showed me, how powerful he was in these different times and moments in my life that seemed so dark.
Yeah.
Um, you know, so yeah, that's a little bit about the competition. I'm really hoping, to win. The money would definitely help us with being able to finally purchase a home.
Wow,
Which
Jordan Sparks is affiliated.
Oh really?
Yeah, Jordan Sparks is
Okay.
affiliated. And
Yeah, they've been showing like every week they show different like videos and different things like that. They show the woman that won last year, so I watched her video and kind of her struggles and things that she continues to deal with and was dealing with. So it's like a great organization. It's a great thing that they do, and it kind of gives a platform to just moms out there. So yeah.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this, Hannah, your story alone and what you've done and what you come through and uh, joining this competition and that some young lady's going to hear that out there
Yeah.
and that's going to give them the inspiration to do better. Because
Absolutely.
everybody's story, it might not be affect this person, but this person over here is like, man, that's what I'm going through right now.
Hmm.
This is something I really needed to hear. So, yeah, and I appreciate you coming on and sharing it with us because, I think that's how we're going to heal as a society. People were so wrapped up in they're scared to get out and because
Hmm.
people judge too much,
Yes.
you know, and, there's too much of that and nobody's perfect, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, there's only one perfect person to live, and that's Jesus Christ.
Absolutely.
I haven't seen him lately, have you? So everybody's a sinner, right?
so
Yeah, absolutely.
before we wrap this up, I just wanted to mention something earlier. The Latin language is one of the oldest languages, and the original scriptures were written in Latin.
Hmm.
So, that heritage you should be proud of. And I can tell you, as a Caucasian, that there's certain types of cultures that I envy. And one of
Hmm.
them is the Latino community because you guys support each other so much
Yeah,
that I really appreciate that. I really do.
absolutely.
Um, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up, Hannah, and we would love for you to come back on.
You're
Absolutely.
welcome. You're
And,
welcome. I
and
mean,
yeah, and, especially if you win this Mother of the Year, Super Mother,
oh, yeah.
you know,
We'll celebrate and support you
yeah,
all the way.
Absolutely. Thank you guys.
good luck on that. And thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. And get with your friends. It'll be on YouTube and Spotify. So,
Okay.
Great Mothers Awareness campaigns on the way.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, guys, for having me. I appreciate
We acknowledge awesome moms.
thank you.
We acknowledge.
it.
So Hannah, do you have like any
Okay.
like affiliated um, campaigns with the HL? What was it HLH?
Yep.
HLA. So I.
No, we're not recording.
We're not live, but what I'm
Okay.
going to say is post those any local or national